It's Sunday afternoon at Pocono Raceway. The white flag drops. The number 11 FedEx Toyota crosses the finish line. And in that single moment, something inside the NASCAR garage cracked wide open. Not a wreck. Not a penalty. Not a blown engine. Something quieter. And far more dangerous. Because when Denny Hamlin took the checkered flag at Pocono on June 14, 2026, he didn't just win a race. He didn't just make history. He lit a fuse that has been burning inside the garage for weeks, and now, two former NASCAR Cup Series champions are demanding that someone do something about it. This is not a story about one race. This is a story about a 45-year-old man who lost his father in December, who nearly didn't come back to race at all, who is now performing at the greatest level of his entire career, and who, because of that performance, has become the most controversial figure in the NASCAR garage. Stay right here. Because this story goes deeper than anything you've read on social media this week. Before we go any further, if you're new to this channel, welcome to NASCAR Report today. We cover this sport at a level that goes beyond the surface. No fluff, no filler, just the real story behind the story. We are grinding toward a subscriber milestone that means everything to this channel, and every single subscriber brings us one step closer. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now. Hit that button. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. And it tells us to keep making content exactly like this. Alright, let's get into it. On June 14, 2026, Denny Hamlin did something that had never happened in 21 years of his full-time Cup Series career. He won 3 consecutive races. Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, back to back to back. At Pocono specifically, the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota held off the number 45 Tyler Reddick of 23XI Racing by 1.678 seconds in a fuel-saving battle that had every driver watching their gauges in the final laps. It was tense. It was calculated. And when it was over, the result was clear. Denny Hamlin, win number 64 in the NASCAR Cup Series. That win moved him past the late Kyle Busch, who passed away unexpectedly last month at just 41 years old, and into sole possession of 9th place on the all-time wins list. That is a number that belongs to Hamlin and Hamlin alone now. And his 8th career victory at Pocono gives him the all-time record at that track. Nobody has more Pocono wins than Denny Hamlin. Nobody. Post-race inspection came back clean. No issues found on the number 11. The win was made official. And then 6 cars were sent to the NASCAR Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina for further evaluation. The number 5 of Kyle Larson. The number 7 of Daniel Suarez. The number 12 of Ryan Blaney. The number 17 of Chris Buescher. The number 42 of John Hunter Nemechek. And the number 45 of Tyler Reddick. Now, to be very clear, selection for R&D inspection is standard procedure. It does not mean any rules were broken. NASCAR selects cars routinely. But the combination of who was sent, who wasn't, and what had just happened on the racetrack, that gave the garage exactly what it needed to start asking questions that will not go away quietly. Let's talk about where things stand in the standings, because that context is critical to understanding why this controversy is hitting as hard as it is. Tyler Reddick entered Pocono with the most comfortable points lead he had held all season. He left Pocono with a 19-point advantage over Denny Hamlin, the smallest margin between them all year. Think about what that means. In one race, Reddick went from comfortable to looking over his shoulder. And with only 10 races remaining before the chase field locks, Hamlin's momentum has completely reshaped the title conversation. Reddick acknowledged it directly in his post-race comments. "It's a bummer," he said. "If the 11 wasn't the winner, you could consider this a good day. I know we finished second. Scoring the points we did just didn't get the job done." That is a driver who understands exactly what is happening. Reddick opened the 2026 season on an absolute tear, 4 wins in the first 6 races. He went to Darlington, dealt with an alternator failure, needed a battery change, lost his cool suit entirely, and still managed to find himself at the front and win the race. That kind of performance does not happen by accident. Fox Sports analyst Kevin Harvick addressed it early in the season, saying the combination of team stability, Toyota's overall package, and Reddick's growth as a leader was simply hard to beat. "You can't beat fast cars," Harvick said, and Tyler Reddick has stepped up to be able to deliver on those fast cars. Most of the garage accepted that explanation at the time. Then Denny Hamlin started winning. And winning again. And winning again. And now the explanation is not landing quite as smoothly. Toyota manufacturers have won 10 of 16 Cup Series races in 2026. Let that number sink in for a second. 10 out of 16. That is 62.5% of all Cup races this season going to a single manufacturer. And Joe Gibbs Racing alone accounts for 5 of those victories. In NASCAR, when one manufacturer and one organization's network is producing results at that volume, week after week, the rest of the garage does not simply look the other way. Every crew chief in the sport is searching for speed. Every engineer is looking for an edge. That is the nature of the competition. When one group finds significantly more of it than everyone else, consistently, at multiple tracks, in different conditions, with different drivers, people start asking questions. And according to multiple sources familiar with the situation, that is exactly what has been happening behind closed doors in the NASCAR garage. The technical relationship between Joe Gibbs Racing and 23XI Racing sits right at the center of this conversation. Denny Hamlin is not just the driver of the number 11 car. He is also the co-owner of 23XI Racing alongside NBA legend Michael Jordan. The two organizations have a long-standing technical alliance, shared support, shared equipment. Alliances like this exist across NASCAR and have for many years. That part is nothing new. But according to one source speaking to ESPN, JGR and 23XI are connected in ways that other organizations simply are not. And when the same connected network continues producing front-running results weekend after weekend, competitors take notice. They always do. Here is where this story enters a new level entirely. Two former NASCAR Cup Series champions have reportedly been among the most vocal in pushing for expanded inspections: Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski. Those are not minor names. Joey Logano is a champion. Brad Keselowski is a champion. These are men who have been inside the NASCAR garage at the highest level for years. When drivers of that stature push for action, it carries weight. But here is the distinction that absolutely must be made, and we are going to make it clearly: neither Logano nor Keselowski has publicly accused Joe Gibbs Racing or 23XI Racing of cheating. That line has not been crossed. Not publicly. Not by either driver. What has been reported is that both drivers have pushed for NASCAR to conduct deeper post-race reviews, more extensive examinations of components, a closer look at what is being shared between affiliated organizations. Their position, as it has been described, is not that something illegal is definitely happening. Their position is that NASCAR should inspect thoroughly enough that there is no doubt in anyone's mind. From a purely competitive standpoint, that argument is difficult to reject. When playoff positioning is on the line, when championship points are shrinking by the week, and when you sit outside the top 16 in points as Logano currently does, the urgency becomes very real. But the ripple effects of this are being felt everywhere in the garage. Because when former champions push back against a performance level that openly, it sends a signal. It tells everyone watching that this is no longer just background noise. This is a real conversation happening at the highest levels of the sport. Now let's talk about someone who hasn't said anything, and why that might matter just as much as everything that has been said. Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 23XI Racing Toyota. One of the most outspoken personalities in the NASCAR garage. A driver who rarely avoids a conversation on major topics surrounding the sport. Throughout this entire situation, Bubba Wallace has been completely silent. According to the report, one veteran crew member inside the garage specifically pointed out that Wallace almost always has something to say. And his decision to stay out of this conversation entirely has been noticed by people paying attention. The question being asked privately is a simple one: would Bubba Wallace have stayed quiet if similar scrutiny was being directed at a different organization? Nobody is drawing a firm conclusion from his silence. But in a story where every detail carries weight, the detail that one of NASCAR's loudest voices has gone quiet is not going unnoticed. Joe Gibbs Racing and 23XI Racing have both firmly rejected any suggestion of wrongdoing. Both organizations pointed directly to NASCAR's inspection process. Their cars have cleared checks consistently all season long. The results stand. And Denny Hamlin, for his part, was completely dismissive of the growing speculation after Pocono. This was not a man on the defensive. This was a driver who has been to victory lane 3 weeks in a row, and he spoke like it. "I would certainly say it's the best we've been," Hamlin said. "We come to the racetrack every week knowing we got a great shot to win. The team's doing an amazing job giving me exactly what I need in the car every single week. That's why we're winning. No defensiveness. No deflection. Just a driver who believes completely in what his team is producing." And honestly, you have to understand the weight of that statement when you understand everything this man has been carrying. This is the part of the story that tends to get lost in the noise of the controversy. And it should not get lost. Because it is genuinely remarkable. Denny Hamlin is 45 years old. He is the oldest full-time Cup Series driver in the field this season. He signed a 2-year contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing that runs through 2027, and he has said that will be his final season behind the wheel. Last November, he lost the championship in the season finale. He lost it on a day when everything was on the line. And after that, he nearly didn't come back at all. Then in December, his father died in a house fire. Think about what that means. A son, searching through the damage of a house fire, injuring his shoulder in the process, wondering whether any of this was still worth it. He came back anyway. He honored his contract. He showed up at Daytona with a team behind him and a reason to race, and he started producing at a level that no one, perhaps not even Hamlin himself, fully expected. 3 consecutive wins. Nashville, Michigan, Pocono. Joining Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, and Darrell Waltrip as the only drivers in the modern era to accomplish that feat. All 3 of those names are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And there is one more detail that would have been the headline in any quieter week. His win at Pocono on June 14 came almost exactly 20 years to the day after his very first career Cup Series victory, which also came at Pocono on June 11, 2006. 20 years. Same track. Same driver. Completely different version of the story. JGR co-owner Heather Gibbs said it plainly when asked about the possibility of extending beyond 2027. It's hard when you dangle checkered flags in front of him. 3 consecutive wins have a way of making retirement conversations very complicated. Oh, and Hamlin took a direct jab at NASCAR during his post-race comments, pointing out that he personally considers this his 9th Pocono victory, not his 8th, because he was stripped of a 2022 win following a failed post-race inspection. They aren't getting that checkered flag back, he said. That is a man who is completely unbothered. While all of this unfolds, the rest of the garage is fighting for their playoff lives. Shane Van Gisbergen currently sits 14th in points, just 10 ahead of Brad Keselowski in 17th. Eric Jones and Austin Cindric are 15th and 16th, both only 4 points above the cut line. Joey Logano sits 21 points outside the top 16. Every race from here matters enormously. Every single one. Christopher Bell is managing a broken left wrist suffered in the Michigan crash the week before Pocono. He still led 18 laps at Pocono on a fuel strategy gamble before fading to 26th. Certainly we were mired back in the 20s, Bell said, so I think it was an amazing gamble. He called it worth it. Bell now faces an extremely difficult 2-week stretch, the inaugural Enduro 250 at the Qualcomm circuit on Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, the very first NASCAR race ever held on an active military installation, followed by Sonoma. Both tracks demand heavy use of the gearshift, with a broken left wrist. That is the reality for a driver who was fighting to hold his playoff spot while competing through real physical pain. The contrast between what Hamlin is experiencing right now and what drivers like Bell, Keselowski, and Logano are experiencing could not be more stark. So here is where everything stands. NASCAR has no formal investigation open, no penalties announced, no public findings of any rules violations. The number 11 cleared post-race inspection. The win is confirmed and official. But the questions are not going anywhere. Toyota has won 10 of 16 races. Joe Gibbs Racing has 5 of them. 2 former champions are pushing for expanded scrutiny. The driver who might speak loudest about it has gone completely quiet. And a 45-year-old man who lost his father in December is somehow producing the best racing of his career. Whatever comes next in San Diego, at Sonoma, through every remaining race of this regular season, the spotlight on Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs Racing, and 23XI Racing is not going to dim. The controversy is real. The performance is real. And with 10 races left to lock the chase field, every lap from here forward carries enormous weight. This is the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series. And it just got a whole lot more interesting. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you more than you know. This channel exists because of viewers like you who actually care about NASCAR at this level. If you haven't subscribed to NASCAR Report today yet, right now is the time. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because this story is not over, and we are going to be here every step of the way covering every single development. We'll see you in the next one.